Yes, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Oris Talks Football, or welcome back, I should say. And we've got a big week of football ahead of us, but we have also had a pretty big week of football from the Premiership over the weekend. And we are, of course, going to discuss some of that. And I do apologize for being 7 minutes late. Lateness isn't really greatness, but grateful to any and all of you who are here. Hashim's in the chat. Big up to you. And another reminder, do get this to 100 likes. Do please smash the likes if any of you are in the audience. And Orest, of course, will be joining us later on. But there are going to be a lot of things to discuss, obviously, for this particular week, most notably with the big teams. So we're not expected to go for too long. But, of course, it is wonderful to have a good panel tonight. I'm going to start by introducing a regular to this channel and someone who, of course, has his own channel, DJ Sinclairo. Not been able to go on his channel recently, but I do support him in every way I can. And here he is, Mr. Sinclair. Good evening, and how are you?
Evening, I'm good, Manny. Big up for having me on, of course. The rest will be joining later, and we've got another guest coming on. Hopefully, more guests will be coming on. But so we've got a lot to discuss. Arsenal thrashing Bournemouth, Man City losing, Chelsea finally winning. So it's been a good week of football, and obviously the Luton-Burnley games tonight, which is the final game of the game week. And obviously we saw the Chelsea game last week where Mudryk finally scored. And yeah, so we've got a big week of football coming ahead as well. Arsenal are taking on Man City, and actually I went to the Arsenal women's game where Liverpool won 1-0 and all the Liverpool fans were singing "We'll Never Walk Alone" after the game. But it was a good goal, to be fair, very lucky goal. Arsenal played well. The atmosphere was amazing. It was record-breaking attendance, 54,115 people there at the Emirates with a 60,000 capacity. So that's amazing for a women's game. Only 6,000 empty seats. So yeah, listen, I'm good. Big up for having me on and looking forward to the stream.
Okay, very good. Well, we're not going to be expected, as I said, to review every single match, but there have been some matches which have brought about some really, really big storylines. And of course, I will welcome a few more guests. My fellow co-host and my partner in crime on his own channel. Actually, I'm his partner in crime. It's his channel, The Coach's Corner. We're always grateful to him for having me on his channel. We will be doing a watch-along tomorrow for Newcastle against PSG, and he is here tonight. Good evening, Mr. Trollope. How are you, bud?
I'm good, and finally, I don't have to be cooked. I can do the cooking. Mr. Orest has missed his appointment.
Orest is hiding. Where are you?
He's missed his appointment. We'll give him a few more minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, would have been fun if you guys also lost. But you don't know what losing is.
It would have been fun if you lost as well. Up the Chelsea.
No, we constantly lose. What's fun in that?
Wait, is this your first win of the
season?
Okay. Or have you won?
All right, boys. Let me make it crystal clear. There might be a little bit of cooking, but we're just going to limit it to maybe just boiling a few eggs. Okay. I mean, I don't like it when we barbecue each other. Enough's enough. I know that you're fond of a good braai, Hanno. I'm sure we all are. But let's save it for the weekend. I mean, that's always the best time to have a braai. And of course, another thing that begins with B is a certain Brentford fan, Mr. B himself. Not his real name, but always happy to have him on. Mr. And here he is. Good evening, and how are you?
Hey, fellas. How you doing? I'm cool, yeah. Got Mr. T on here again. Look, co-host, Mr.
T. Yep. And I do like the look you've got on.
Pain.
I do like that little sleeveless shirt you got on.
Yeah, nice shirt you got.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah, vest, mate. Yeah, I got my vest on.
Yeah. I mean, it says Toxico, but I know you're anything but toxic.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Have we got any NFL fans in the chat? Because I know when I went to London.
Of course.
Manny, what game went on the weekend? There was one in England. Was there a game in England? What game was it?
I believe it was with Jacksonville was one of the teams, and I don't remember the other one. I'll have to look it up and tell you.
Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens, yes.
Yeah,
and
because when I went to London, we went to a service station. We saw a few people with an NFL tops and Arsenal tops because they were going to the game, but they were wearing sort of like NFL like shirts.
Yeah, I get that. But my team will always and forever be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We won the Super Bowl. Yeah, we won the Super Bowl. We won the Super Bowl a few years ago with we won the Super Bowl, of course, with Tom Brady as our quarterback. But he stayed on too long, and we didn't really repeat that. We've made a great start, though, and it just goes to show that there's more to the Buccaneers than having a superstar quarterback.
When I went to America, I bought a Miami Dolphins top, so I'm more of a Miami
Dolphins are the best.
Yeah, Dolphins are the best. Go on, Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure.
Let's start with B. Let's start.
Yeah.
I think we need to start with Brentford. Absolute bottle shops.
No, calm down. All right, calm down.
Come back on your show, do you? Do you?
Yeah, listen. Yeah, this is why I say no cooking, no braai, no barbecue, no grilling or frying, just some light boiling, okay? And of course, we are going to start with something that will please. Yeah, we are going to start with something that will probably please quite two people over here. A nice this is the one. Arsenal, of course, over the weekend. This game wasn't televised for some reason, so it was very difficult to watch it. I mean, obviously, there were some people who would, find their own ways to take a look at it. But Arsenal going down to the seaside, the southeast coast, and picking up a 4-0 win in the battle of the Basque coaches. Andoni Iraola and Mikel Arteta, in fact, were in the same youth team. Back in Spain, of course. And, of course, now they've had somewhat different career paths with Iraola becoming an Athletic Bilbao legend of sorts before going on to manage Rayo Vallecano. And Arteta might not necessarily have been a legend at most of his clubs, except maybe for Everton. But now, of course, he is managing Arsenal. And it was effectively a game where Arsenal pretty much, ran roughshod over the south, over the seasiders, really. And it was effectively a case of Iraola's attempt to try and play some really attractive football with a somewhat passing and movement, just not really working very well. And defensively, they were weak. Ollie, I don't know if you got to watch the game, but what was your impression of the game?
Yeah, listen, good result for Arsenal, of course. Bounced back after the North London derby. Obviously, it was a frustrating draw. We took the lead, and then obviously we conceded with Son, and then obviously scored the penalty and conceded again after the penalty. So it was a frustrating draw. We could have won the game, but we drew at the end. Obviously, we're still unbeaten. We drew to Brentford.
Wait. Which game are you talking about?
Yeah.
The Tottenham game.
I'm talking, mate. We're talking about the Arsenal.
I'm just saying we're bouncing back from the result because we won the game.
But this one, mate. This one. Talk about this.
Yeah. All right. So I obviously didn't watch the game. It was a 3:00 kickoff. I tried my best to keep up with the Gillette Soccer Saturday. I heard the first goal and the second goal. Then I heard the fourth goal. I basically heard all the goals. Basically, I watched Match of the Day. I watched the Sky Sports highlights on YouTube. So I did see the game. Obviously, the first goal from Saka was really good. Penalty was good from Odegaard. Good to see Kai Havertz finally get rid of the 007.
Yeah, well, let him have a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. That was a brilliant decision from Saka to give him the penalty. And then really good for Ben White to get a goal for my fantasy team. Thank you very much. Very good for Ben White. Clean sheet as well. So, yeah, listen, really good result. Obviously, Odegaard getting the goal as well. 17 points for my team. I should have put him captain, to be honest. But, yeah, listen, David Raya got a clean sheet as well. I can't complain. And guess what, guys? I think David Raya is better than Ramsdale. I think that now. He is much better.
He's finally come around.
Yeah. He's got more clean sheets. He's better at crossing. He's better. He doesn't panic when he has the ball. Big up, Kyle. Big up.
Okay. He's here.
But no, good result. Obviously, good goals from Ben White, Odegaard's, Saka, and obviously good for Havertz to get the goal. Yeah, Kai Havertz first goal for Arsenal, as Chelsea fan says there. Obviously good for Chelsea fans as well, selling Mount, who's actually playing today. Mason Mount probably is. Kai Havertz getting the goal, and he's playing tonight as well. And then Kovacic is going to Man City as well. I think he's probably playing as well in the Champions League. So listen, obviously they've got rid of a lot of players. Mendy, the list goes on. But good result for Arsenal. We are third in the league now behind Tottenham, who are the second and only team that are unbeaten. And Man City just lost to Wolves. So it's a situation where if we beat Man City and Tottenham draw or lose, we go top of the league. So we really hope that happens. If we were to lose, then we could stay third or drop down a bit. But I do want us to try and get up back to that top. It was very interesting when we were top of the league for quite a while. But I'll let the other panelists speak. But yeah, good win for Arsenal, 4-0 win at the Bournemouth Stadium.
it's quite fair to say, of course, that given the crisis that City are sort of undergoing right now, and we will talk about that, anything less than an Arsenal win should be construed as disappointment and a failure. Kyle, welcome to the stream. We'll come to you in a few minutes, but Hanno, since you enjoy talking tactics a great deal because you got your own tactics show, I want to sort of talk about the Bournemouth approach to the game. Now, there is this sort of an idea that Iraola was brought into Bournemouth to try and change the approach and the philosophy of the team, given that under Gary O'Neill, of course, although they did, stay up, which was miraculous under the circumstances, given how they lost Scott Parker and, of course, were, completely whipped to the tune of 9-0 at Anfield by Liverpool. They recovered well to beat them 1-0 at Dean Court. But with the change of philosophy, we see a more open style with Iraola. And obviously, he signed some players like Justin Kluivert and others who like to run the channels and really apply that game. The big problem is, against teams like Arsenal, we've seen already in the Champions League with PSV, if you try to play that sort of attractive football with that high line, you will effectively be found out if you're defensively not that good. And Bournemouth have had some problems with their defence. And, they were just completely open and exposed. And, yes, we did score our goals from set pieces. The first goal was quite lucky with Jesus heading it off the bar and Saka being at the right place at the right time to sort of poke it in. 2 penalties and then a good header from Ben White. So we took our advantages. I wouldn't necessarily say that we were clinical. But I wonder if Bournemouth adopted the wrong approach by trying to go gung-ho against Arsenal. I don't know if you were able to see the game anyway, because I don't know if SuperSport was able to show it. But would you say that Iraola missed a trick there?
I didn't watch the game, but of what you just said, I think many teams have adopted that side of the high line. You have seen Villa. I know they have a big high line. Even when we played Bournemouth early on in the season, we probably should have won that game, but we missed so much sitters. And the space in behind of these teams, like your Bournemouth, is another team, just can't quite remember but I know Villa is one. Even Fulham, they also played like that against us yesterday. Where they have that they stand a bit more forward, and it's definitely the wrong approach, I think, for these lesser teams. If they wanted to have the right approach, I think we can maybe look at what West Ham can do and transform that into your own style of play. And that's a good thing. But yeah, again, good result for Arsenal. They just keep going. And like I said, it's a good bounce back from their draw against Tottenham, where they were in some cases outclassed at times by Tottenham. But I think good result.
Yep, and certainly what Tottenham got right was, I think, their defensive midfielders, Basuma and Sarr. They were sloppy with the ball first up, but then they got their act together. And of course, defensively, Mickey van der Ven, Udogie and company, I think they held us at bay, which is something Bournemouth couldn't do. And so this segues into you now, Mr. B. I'm not too sure you were able to see the match either and really give some observations of it, but we were talking about how I think my friend Craig Beasley actually released a video on his channel saying that maybe, just maybe, Bournemouth were a bit hasty in getting rid of Gary O'Neill and, and sort of bringing in this new coach with a new philosophy too soon, because the majority of Bournemouth players are still very much O'Neill players who can't really get into that. So I wonder if you think Bournemouth made a mistake in getting rid of Gary O'Neill, especially given how he was able to beat Manchester City. A freakish result, but still a win nonetheless. Yeah. And where do you think Bournemouth can go from here, perhaps?
Well, Manny, I thought at the time, I thought that was really harsh getting rid of O'Neill. I mean, look, he's kept them up, and he got them playing some pretty decent stuff at times, So I think, well, why did they do that? I mean, that is so, harsh and mercenary like to do that. Get rid of somebody just like that when they've done that. But, at the moment, I don't think he's doing that well, this guy. I mean, did you say he was apparently played football with Arteta at one stage somewhere? And,
Yeah, he
Yep.
did. Yeah.
Yep. Same
Yeah.
youth team back in Spain.
Yeah, well, he's even more of a rookie than Arteta at the moment, let's be honest. I mean, the way he's going with this, but I mean, it's it seemed like men against boys, to be honest. There, I thought, crikey, that Arsenal and Chelsea both played pub teams over the weekend, and that's what it seemed like, because it was a stroll in the park, wasn't it? It was so easy, and there was just no challenge there. And I think Bournemouth will stay up maybe, but I think they might need to get rid of the manager. I think they might need someone else. I'd still would have kept O'Neill. I mean, I doubt they can get him back now. I'm not sure he probably.
Yeah, he's gone to Wolves now, isn't he?
Wolves. So
yeah,
I can't see him wanting to go back anyway after what they've done to him. It was pretty ruthless, to be honest. So I think they could do something, but it was so easy for Arsenal, wasn't it? Let's be honest. But as far as Kai Havertz, I wouldn't have let him take that penalty. I mean, why do you do that? Just to let somebody get their first goal for the club, You're the designated penalty taker. You just take it. You don't let somebody else have it.
Yeah,
what's it getting
I get
to
that.
now? In the old days, that wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen in the old days.
No, and of course, at least Mudrak was able to earn his goal. And we will talk. I know that Hanno has to leave, but before you go, Hanno, I just want to briefly ask you, just digressing a bit about the Chelsea result. You did mention that Fulham played a high line, and I think I saw the game last night. I think defensively they looked all over the shop at first, and they did tighten up a bit, but didn't really have much of an answer to the formation that Chelsea employed, which I think was at times a 4-2-3-1, but did transition into a 4-3-3. But Mudrak, Brozier, and company were able to run the show in the absence of Nicholas Jackson. What do you think of Mudrak's goal? Do you see it being potentially the first of many, and do you think that this could now give him the confidence in a way that Arsenal fans hope that Havertz's penalty will give him?
Look, I think that game in the whole has boosted everyone's confidence. And it feels like things are clicking together, but news like Chilwell now out for 2 months, maybe longer, is damning. So we're moving on the right track, and Mudryk definitely, it should give him confidence. And now Poches, I think I would still start Jackson, but Brozier after 45 minutes, take him off, bring him on, maybe give Brozier that time to recuperate. But it's been good result, 2 good games. Move on to Burnley. I'm a bit skeptical about Burnley. It's away from home, and for 3 p.m. kickoff doesn't sound like a game where Chelsea win 3-0. Crowd on top of you. I'm a bit skeptical, but we should be pulling off a win.
Yeah, you should get it. And of course, I know you have to leave. So shout yourself out. Tell us where we can find you, and tell us what you've got coming up soon.
Yeah, so I'm going to go do watch on to Luton against the mighty Burnley, speaking as I just spoke about them. On my YouTube channel for the Coach's Corner, and then on Instagram you can find me on _coach_corner, and then Twitter @708303030, TikTok Coach Corner 1, and one special request is if Oris does come back. Oh, there it is. Just as I leave, he has to join. So people runs in my heart, kill him in the comments, and kill his club Man United. Come on, Galatasaray, all the way.
Okay, so a nice little parting shot there, and I do not like these parting shots, but it is what it is. Now, Kyle, welcome. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything that needs to be said more about the Bournemouth Arsenal game, and if you didn't watch it, I don't know if you can add anything more. But I think you can agree with us when you say that Bournemouth have some problems, and it was a good win for the Arsenal. But now, of course, we're going to go to Manchester United because this latest home defeat to Crystal Palace now pretty much makes it, as Oris mentioned in the title, the worst start to a season in 34 years. And I thought that when you lot started the season with two consecutive defeats to Brighton and Brentford, that it was a bad enough start, but you recovered well. Now, though, it's not just that you are losing, but there seem to be even there's a lot of disturbance out there. I think I'll have to mute someone's mic for a bit.
I think it's a rest because he's on the bus or something.
It's not mine.
Yep.
I don't think.
Yeah, he is on the bus. But Oris, we will you unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. But Kyle, since you've just come in, we're going to start with you. As I've mentioned, it is, of course, United's worst start in 34 years, not just with the results, but also with a lot of the unrest that's going on right now, which doesn't make Orest very happy. Orest can't get any rest, pun intended. And, there's a lot of talk about how Rashford should be blamed for everything given his selfishness. And a lot of people are saying, no, we shouldn't blame him. It is normally the way he plays. And I personally feel that given that last season, of course, he was the leading goal scorer and really did well as a lone striker, to expect him to suddenly switch everything up and become more of a second striker with Højlund leading the line is not going to be easy. I'd like to see a situation where two strikers are adopted, even if it means going to a 4-4-2. But tactics aside, the whole Rashford situation, the Sancho situation, more and more injuries, the Maguire issue that took place earlier, it's sort of led to the team being a little bit, fractured, I would say. What did you think of the game? Because, you did have your opportunities to at least get a goal back and draw, but still you ended up losing. And also, how do you think the problems that are afflicting Manchester United can be solved? Is it perhaps time to reconsider whether Ten Hag is the right man for the job?
To be honest, I feel that this is a disappointing result. Because coming to this match, especially after we beat Crystal Palace 3-0 in the FA Cup, it was Carabao Cup. We felt like
Yes,
we were
League Cup.
favorite and we were going to go like back-to-back wins against them. I felt like Ten Hag, like he was overconfident and he lacked his tactics. He played the same team. He should have played. I don't know how to explain, but
The Burnley game started, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that now. Let's go back to the topics. Keep going, Kyle.
And also, I feel like the problem with United is we have shots, but we are not converting it because you look at the PL stats, we are the fifth best attacking team in terms of shots, but where the 109 shots going to, none of them are converting into goals, which is the problem, which means we're not that clinical in terms of goal conversion. I think that's our main problem.
Okay, but so about the Sancho issue and some of the unrest that's bubbling under, how do you think that can be resolved?
I think this Sancho issue, Sancho just needs to admit that he is on the wrong and also does apologize because he's hurting the team by studying his ground. It means that United is one less player down, and that is making it difficult for Ten Hag to rotate the squad because he has one less quality player to play with. And also with the Antonio situation, it means it also depends the situation on the right wing. and that only means that we only have like Felicity to play in the right wing position.
Right. Okay. Mr. B, we'll just sort of go anti-clockwise this time. Obviously, there is a bit of a Brentford connection, given that Ericsson did, play a season with you lot and come back to his best, but then went on to Manchester United. Had a decent first season, but seems to be struggling, obviously. He could very well be one of the issues now, because there are going to be concerns about his continued fitness, along with that of Casemiro. Obviously, Amrabat joining the team means that they now have a defensive midfield option. But for the moment, due to injuries, he's being forced to play as an inverted left back. And the team selection, it just looks completely wonky in so many ways. And I just wonder if... you can't really legislate for injuries, but I just wonder if Ten Hag has actually lost the plot tactically or with his players, or maybe he's, being found out. And what sort of... it does seem to me that there's a little bit of dead wood as well in Manchester United, in the Manchester United team. And with Oris coming home, I think hopefully once he joins, we'll get to him. But as an outsider, as a more neutral fan, obviously, I'm sure you might agree that some dead wood will need to be cleared out. So if you were the United manager, who would be top of your list to leave the club, at least at the end of the season?
Oh, well, would I want to be manager of United? No. But anyway, all I can say is it's looking fairly good for us if they're all at sea this Saturday, because we're obviously playing them. So if they are all in a big state, a big 2-8, then I'm sure we could come up with a result. I wouldn't think it'd be quite like the 4-0 last season, but obviously we got the G-Tech. That was a fantastic result. But we're sort of struggling ourselves a little bit at the moment. So I'm not sure a big win would be on the cards. Maybe a 1 or 2-0 I'd love, or 2-1. But as going back to your question, Manny, he's obviously it's a tough task there for anyone, especially after Ferguson. After all that time, all the managers that come in have maybe struggled a bit. Apart from, who was the guy, the Dutch bloke?
Van Gaal.
Van Gaal.
Louis Van Gaal.
Van Gaal, sorry.
No, but that's one even
and
wasn't that
maybe
successful.
Mourinho done okay as well, didn't he? I suppose. But
he won the Europa League, but then things completely went south afterwards very quickly. That's the way with him. He'll win you a trophy, but then he'll drag the club down and then leave the club in a mess.
Right, because of player power that made him being sacked. That's why.
Yeah.
Kind of. But back to you, Mr. B.
Yeah, but so I just think it's a poison chalice, that job in a way, and it's always going to be tough. And but as you say, getting back to the dead wood, there's so many there that have probably got to go, isn't there? I don't know why Maguire's still there. Shouldn't he have gone? Shouldn't he have gone to maybe West Ham or something? Or there was talk about that. Apparently, he was hanging on for Real Madrid. But if anyone saw that, he was hoping to get something from Real Madrid. I had to laugh at that one. But, there's just so many that aren't performing, the Sanchos and the, what's the others that aren't really kicking it at the moment, aren't really doing it. As you say, Ericsson, he's, he seems like he might be finished up there. He was great for us. One fantastic season he had for us, half season or whatever. I think he was better for us than United anyway. So, maybe he's finished there. There's quite a few that just aren't doing it. And, it's a matter of where you start. But getting back to that game, I thought it was a fantastic goal by Anderson. He's almost like a striker. We were after him at one stage, Brentford. So, it's a shame we couldn't get him. If he finishes like that, we could do with him here, at the moment.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a defender score a goal like a volley. And I think you mentioned Maguire, maybe Ericsson. I think Casemiro has scored a few goals, but also on many occasions looked off the pace. someone like a Victor Lindelof, I think, has been there for a little bit too long. Clearly, the entire defensive line needs to be restructured. Casemiro and Eriksen, have stayed on for a bit too long. I know that a lot of people will, thumb their noses up at Scott McTominay, but I'll tell you what, for Scotland, he's turned into prime Joe Jordan, as it were. So you can't really knock him for that. Yeah. So, Ollie, I want you to be brief on this before we move to the next game. What do you think of the issues with United and United at the moment? Did you get to see the Crystal Palace game as well? And where can United go from here? And try and be brief, please.
Yeah, I'll try and be brief. Listen, I didn't watch the game. I obviously saw the Anderson goal, brilliant goal for Anderson. But obviously, as Carl said, they won 3-0 against them in the reverse fixture in the Carabao Cup. So, and that was away. No, that was at home as well, at Old Trafford. And obviously, they're playing tonight as well. They're playing Galatasaray, of course. So, might talk about that if not, obviously. But no, good game for Crystal Palace. Great goal from Anderson. Johnston got 3 saves and Onana got 1 save. So, listen, not a very good result for United. As said, the worst start in 34 years. They're currently sitting 10th with a -4 goal difference, 9.7 games played. So, their form is lost 1, lost 1, and their full form is they've lost 4 games and won 3 games. So they haven't drawn any games. They haven't won many games. They've only won 3. So not a very good start for United. Where do they go from here? Well, they've got Mr. B. They've got Brentford at home next. So should be it's going to be a close game. I think Mr. B will probably take a draw in that game because Man United are a very good team. But Man United will be looking to bounce back from their poor form. As I said, they're currently 10th at 9 points. So if they were to win, they can go up to 9th if Crystal Palace were to lose. But actually, no, because of the goal difference. So they'll be joint 9th if Crystal Palace lose. No, actually, they won't be joint 9th. Yeah, but anyway, good result for Crystal Palace. Great goal from Anderson. He's in my fantasy team now. But obviously they're playing tonight. So let's see what happens. But yeah, they bounced back with the game tonight and against Brentford as well. And then Sheffield United after that. But yeah, bad start, 10th in the league. So they need to bounce back from here.
Okay, so we don't have very long before, obviously, Arsenal will be playing tonight. Champions League action starts in 20 minutes. So, we'll try and move on as quickly as we can. But the problem is some of these games do have some really good talking points. I think the thing about this game, Aston Villa 6, Brighton 1, it was the early Saturday kickoff. And, of course, Villa shockingly put Brighton to the sword. I was expecting a Villa win, but nowhere near that. And the big talking point, of course, was, the way Aston Villa are playing. They could be on the hunt for Champions League football. But as an Arsenal fan who still has nothing but respect for Unai Emery, and as a lot of people will rate their first-choice goalkeeper very highly indeed, I'm going to say calm down. Do not make the same mistake that Arsenal fans made. We were cock-a-hoop with our start and hopeful about possibly going on to win the league. We missed out on qualifying for the Champions League in 2022. The following season, we were ahead for about for 93% of the season, but then flubbed it at the end. And unless Aston Villa improve their squad, I mean, how else do you explain a team that can contrive to lose 2-1 to Everton at home in the League Cup and then turn in a performance like that? As with Arsenal, there's a huge difference between the first team and the reserves, and I think Aston Villa will need to redress that difference in the January window, especially given that they're playing in the Conference League, I believe, on Thursday. They're going to have to look to bounce back from that loss to Leisure. They should be able to secure a win at Villa Park. But, I would like to see them qualify for the Champions League. I just don't know if they'll necessarily have the strength and depth to do that. But the quality of the football they're playing has been absolutely stellar so far. Mr. B, would you agree with that?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, definitely. I was a bit shocked by this score, though. I really was, because Brighton are a good team, and I thought, well, how are they getting walloped by Villa? But then again, they're a decent team as well. So I'm made up for Watkins. I think maybe he could get back in the England team. That'd be great, in the squad or in the team. So
him over Eddie Nketiah any day of the week and twice on a Sunday.
yeah. I think it could be your next signing, couldn't it, Watkins?
Yeah, definitely. I'll take Ollie Watkins. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'd take him back at Brentford,
man.
Any day. We'd have him back at Brentford, I'll tell you. Don't know why we sold him, to be honest. But anyway, Yeah, so that was brilliant, and so it was a really good evening for Dick Emery in that match. So.
Dick Emery.
Yeah, I mean, listen, none of this Dick Emery nonsense. I still respect the guy, and let's not forget he beat us en route to winning the Europa League with Villarreal. So he shoved that back down our throats. And Kyle, this is the same Brighton team, of course, as you remember, which beat United at Old Trafford. How surprised were you to see them get completely swept aside? I mean, they're blowing hot and they're cold. Yes and no, in and out, up and down, as Katy Perry would say. What seems to be going on with Brighton, do you think?
Three big reasons.
Yeah.
I just believe it was just a terrible day at the office for Brighton. And also maybe they rotated the squad as much because remember the next fixture. So no, it's also another difficult fixture for Brighton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're also finding it difficult to manage the workload of both playing in the Premier League and the Europa League. But, you know, at least De Zerbi's learning a lesson. Don't rotate your goalkeeper too often. And Ollie, I think you can agree with Raya staying in goal. At least Arteta's not making that mistake. But what do you think of Aston Villa? And how pleased are you for Unai Emery?
Yeah, listen, Ollie Watkins, I'm so annoyed I got rid of him in my fantasy team. I had him in my team. He got 23 points, and I swapped in him for Darwin Núñez, who didn't play. So luckily, Matty Cash, who got a clean sheet and an assist, will be coming on. No, he didn't get a clean sheet because they scored, but he got an assist in the game, so that'll be coming on for Darwin Núñez. And I've got two players playing Kadowi and Morris in the Burnley game. So be interesting to see how they can do. And obviously, as Manny said, the Arsenal game's going on right now. I'm watching the build up. But on to this game, very good result for Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins with a hat trick. Let me just check to see who else got the goals. Ollie Watkins with a hat trick. Douglas Luiz with the goal, which is another player I'm considering getting in fancy. And Jacob Ramsey as well. The goal for obviously an own goal from Esputin as well. And the goal from Brighton was Fatty. Estupiñán, yeah, and a 10 rating for me for Ollie Watkins. Absolutely brilliant performance. 3 goals, 1 assist. Matty Cash had a good game as well. Apart from the clean sheet, he got an assist. Yellow cards from Digne, Consigne, and obviously worry for Aston Villa because they had to sub off Zanilo. Diaby got injured and Camarara got injured. Emmis Ferguson, March, Welbeck, Hemerson, and Esputin were all subbed off. Mitoma, Welbeck, and Dunk got yellow cards. So listen, very bad result for very bad day at the office for Jason Steele. 4 saves but conceding 6 goals. And Manny's favourite keeper getting 2 saves and almost getting a clean sheet. Listen, with Unai Emery, I've never rated this guy. He's done well at Aston Villa, obviously, but for Arsenal, he was absolutely dog S-word. He was absolutely awful. Worst manager we've ever had. He got us.
I'm not having that. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
The Europa League final when we lost, but he finished 8th. Manny, he finished 8th.
He didn't finish 8th. He finished 5th. He was just denied Champions League football at the end, and it was Arteta who finished 8th, completing his season. So get your facts right.
Manny, you've got to think he lost in the Europa League Europa League final against Chelsea 4-1. So you got to remember.
I'm aware of that. But Arteta has done no better, and that will be the end of it. Kyle, I know you have to go. Ollie, enough's enough. All right. Thank you very much indeed, Kyle. I know you have to leave. So thank you very much indeed for coming on, and do please shout out your channel and tell us where we can find you, please.
Yeah, for you guys, you can find me at Football Overseas. You can follow me on Instagram at _F4YT2019 _ subscribe to Always Talk Football and hit the likes button and share the live stream with your friends. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Kyle. Thank you very much for coming on, and we will hope to see you back again very, very soon indeed. We're going to try to talk about maybe 1 or 2 more games and maybe wrap it up. But now, of course, we come to the big surprise result, of course, of the weekend.
It was 2-1. It was 2-1.
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah.
1-0.
My bad.
Two
But
one, yeah.
let
I was
me.
gonna say.
Yeah, let me just thank you very much indeed for pointing that out. It just goes to show happens to everyone, but it's no excuse.
Yeah.
I've corrected that mistake. So as Ollie rightly said, 2-1. How could I possibly ignore Julian Alvarez's free kick? That was an absolute worldie. But
Nice.
And
this sort of
Juan Chan's
segues.
goal.
Yeah. Thank you, Ollie. But we're going to sort of this sort of segues in a way back to the Bournemouth result against Arsenal, where they were
Yeah.
creamed to the tune of 4-0. And I do want to shout out my friend Craig and his channel, Up the Cherries in All Departments. He released a video where he probably was of the opinion that maybe Bournemouth acted a bit too hastily and made a bit of a mistake in getting rid of O'Neill and hiring Areola too soon. But this is an example in a way. This is an example in a way of how sometimes when you play against teams like Manchester City, I think with another Wolves connection, Mick McCarthy said it best. He wants us. I want my teams to play football, but I'm pragmatic enough to know that I'm not going to win a game against some of the big teams playing like that. If you can sometimes pack the defense, just stifle them, kill the chief, and get you winning your 3 points.
Yeah.
Nobody cares how you do it as long as you do it. And of course, for long periods of time, Wolves hardly had a shot on goal, and their first goal, in fact, was an own goal by Ruben Diaz. Really, but look, it's still very early, and I think O'Neill certainly
Man
proven
City had
that there is a
23
lot.
shots in that game.
Yeah, thanks, Ollie. I appreciate the stat, but it is still very early, and there is an idea that maybe O'Neill was perhaps sacked too soon, and he is doing a decent job at the Wolves team, which had lost several of its talents, including Ruben Neves and others. Mateus Nunes, who joined Manchester City, had a pretty poor game and was hooked up at halftime, and the Wolves fans were, howling with glee, as it were. Yep, the Wolves were howling in the pack as they were, and I think so. Just briefly, Mr. B, do you now think that obviously you think that maybe it was a bit of a harsh decision to get rid of O'Neill at Brighton? Do you think he has what it takes to keep Wolves in the Premier League? And where can they finish? Perhaps, I mean, will they just survive, or will they finish a little bit higher in the table? And maybe does he have a bit of a blueprint as to how he can win matches and earn more points?
Yeah, well, Manny, I think there's a bit of a bad moon rising there, wasn't there? Let's be honest with the Wolves. So, but it's but I think it's a fantastic win, and I think O'Neill is showing what a good, decent manager he is. I mean, I suppose you can say he's slightly a rookie as well, a bit like Arteta. I mean, he was mostly a player. He actually played for Brentford towards the end of his career as well, Gary O'Neill. So. We remember him here. So he's a decent manager. And I mean, if he does keep him up, which I think he will, I think they'll probably get, I don't think they get into the top, sort of middle or top or whatever of the league. Probably around maybe 14th, 15th, something like that. But, I think he's good. And if he does keep him up, I hope they don't sack him at all. Because that would be a real piss take,
Yeah, but let's bear in mind, of course, he got the job after Lopetegui decided to walk because he wasn't happy with the board. And it seems to me that, how they say the fish rots from the head down? If the board isn't really willing to help out a manager, then what can the manager do? And that's why Lopetegui felt that he had to walk. But, Ollie, I'm going to come to you now. Hanno has just put in this comment saying, absolutely pathetic from Manchester City, but injuries did play a part. Yeah. And let's also bear in mind, Ollie, that in addition to the injuries, they've also got Rodri suspended. So I think you can agree with me that if we fail to beat Manchester City at the Emirates, and that should be a big disappointment. But I just wonder if the wheels are starting to fall off a little bit for City, because for what it's worth, they're still top of the league, but they no longer have the unbeaten run, and so. I wonder if other teams can gain confidence from this win. Ollie, what do you think? And Orest, I will come to you afterwards.
Yeah, listen, just an update. There's 0-0 in the Burnley game, so I'll keep you updated with that. And obviously, the Arsenal game's in 8 minutes.
No, there's no need to do that. We'll keep updated ourselves. But just talk about this. Answer the question.
Okay, yeah. So obviously, good win for Wolves. Pedro Neto, great build up before the goal, and obviously own goal from Ruben Diaz. And then Alvarez, great free kick. Obviously, he got him in my fantasy team. Absolutely brilliant free kick. He's taking free kicks, getting the goals, penalty goals, playing and stuff. and then good goal from Hang. And obviously, as you said, they still are top of the league, but losing this game, then they were a third unbeaten team. But now Tottenham and Arsenal, 2 North London teams, the only unbeaten teams, both winning 5 and drawing 2. So for me, Man City really do need to bounce back against Arsenal. I know a friend who supports Man City who's going to be in the away end for the game. I actually went to the Emirates recently. I did tell people about that. So it's going to be a game on Sunday. I think this is the title deciding game, because if Arsenal were to win and go on to win a lot of our matches, then we can be top of the league. We can, be comfortably top, and Man City can drop points. But if Man City were to win this game and Arsenal drop points, I do firmly believe that Man City can go on and win the league, and Arsenal will bottle it again. So for me, it's a must-win game on Sunday. We have to win that game. Anything but a win or a draw, we are not winning the league. Is it? There's a final straw. So if obviously our convincement against Bournemouth, and we drew 2 games against Brentford and flipping Tottenham as well. But listen, we bounced back against Man City. We bounced back again. We're going to win again. 2-1 Arsenal. I know we're not doing predictions, but 2-1 Arsenal. I do have a feeling Saka's going to call a penalty and Udegaard's going to score, and then Haaland will probably score for Man City, probably a penalty, or maybe even Alvarez.
But let's bear in mind though that Saka. Let's bear in mind that Saka did hobble off against Bournemouth.
Yeah, but he's fine now, Manny. He's fine now. He's fine now. He's playing in this.
Then all the better. And Oris, thanks a lot for joining in. Better late than never. We will end the stream soon, but we will try and touch a few as much as possible. Just briefly, you might have heard me ask Kyle about the problems at Manchester United. I want you to be brief on what you think has gone wrong, why you started so badly. And do you agree with Hanno when he says, I mean, probably you don't, I think I know the answer, but he said that if you lose tonight to Galatasaray, then questions at least have to be asked about Ten Hag. Just briefly, let's have your opinions and just tell us what you think of United. And does City losing provide you a crumb of comfort, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the problems that United, I just think, obviously, people can blame the injuries, but I'm not going to do that. Ten Hag, listen, I can start to question him, because I really don't get why you cannot drop Rashford. And for me, he's just that he can literally play every game, and then when he has a one bad game, he still continues to pick him. So for me, I just don't get it. For me, but yeah, overall, I think the midfield for me, Ten Hag doesn't know his best midfield 3. And then again, I don't think some of the players, they're not listening to his system. They're not listening to his instructions. And yeah, like I said, it says on the title that it's the worst start season in over 34 years, which is quite worrying. But yeah, the problems, I'm not surprised, because this club didn't buy a centre back, and Ten Hag did want a centre back. So yeah, and then for City losing, I mean, I was quite surprised, man. I was really quite surprised, and obviously, I think now this boosts chances of Arsenal beating City in the weekend. So yeah, but City, I don't know, man, because there's no Rodri, there's no De Bruyne. I don't know how they're gonna cope against Arsenal and Emirates. But then again, if Arsenal don't win this, I think it's embarrassing from Arteta and the team themselves. But with regards to United, we need to win tonight, and if we don't, I think the fans at Old Trafford, they're not going to be happy with. You guys are going to see a lot of bad reactions from today out of the game. So we need to win tonight. No excuses.
Couldn't agree more. And yeah, but anyway, we'll just briefly touch on a couple of games. Mr. B, since you're in the panel, we'll just talk very briefly about Forest drawing with Brentford or vice versa. Forest, I think, did have a man sent off, but they still managed to fight back and earn a point. And that's another point they've managed to earn. They certainly look a little bit choppy this season. I'm not too sure they'll have a comfortable season. But how frustrating was it as a Brentford fan to see the team still not quite pick up the win?
Very, mate, very. I mean, we could have had 2 penalties in the game as well. You know, you look at it. I mean, Visser was kicked by Turner, your ex-keeper, kicked him when he got to it and got toe poke on the ball when he caught him, and he actually kicked Visser as well. That should have been a penalty. And Bomo, when he headed it against the other guy, that guy had his hand up, that defender. He hit his hand. That should have been a penalty as well. So VAR in the doghouse yet again. But I mean, it's. I mean, we was 1-0 up, and of course they got down to 10 men. And our goalie again, it's Flecken again. He's poor. He was on his way up and then down, and the ball went over his hand. The header, it was central to the goal, and he just let it go in over his hand.
You need Raya, man. You need Raya.
Well, we do, but you lot have got him, and he's on bloody loan. On loan.
But we're gonna buy him. We're gonna buy him.
Well, you bloody better, because I mean, we want money.
What's your thoughts on Mark Flecken?
Oh, all right. No, listen. We'll save the Flecken talk for another day because we have to end the stream very soon. But I think we'll agree that feckless Flecken isn't really the answer. You either put Strakosha in or get another keeper in January.
Well, we've got a point. That's the main thing. I'm happy to stop the losing run on there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, good call on that. And Everton's suffering a shock loss at home to Luton. Luton are showing some fight, and of course they're playing tonight against Burnley. We don't really need to talk about the updates because we'll find out how well they're doing at the end, how well they did at the end. But just briefly, from the both of you, do you think Luton will stay up?
Yeah,
one word answer, yes or no?
If they can with that sort of performances, great performance.
Personally, I did predict them to finish 20th, but I think they can stay up. If they beat Burnley tonight, they can stay up.
Yeah, but still difficult to predict really. And I think another match, of course, featured another relegation team, West Ham beating Sheffield United 2-0, and I'll just get the banner for that ready in a minute. Sorry about that, boys. Whoopsie daisies. When you have to do a stream with Champions League football going on, it might be starting very quickly. West Ham continuing their decent form and also showing that they can handle the pressures of Europe a lot better than they did last season. Just quickly, do you think Sheffield United could stay up this season? And how well do you think West Ham will do?
I don't think Sheffield United will stay up. No.
No.
And maybe Luton will be down there, but I've got a feeling they could just about stay up. Luton, I've just got a feeling about that. But anyway, West Ham, I think they're going to do well. I don't think because they were lingering down near the bottom, weren't they, last season and in the bottom half. So I think they're a good team now. They're playing well. They're in Europe. They won Europe. I think they'll be in the top 10 at least.
Okay, and. Ollie, what do you? I'm sure you probably don't rate Sheffield United's chances of staying up, and maybe what do you think about West Ham? Very briefly, okay?
Very briefly, because the Arsenal game is about to start now, guys. So I do have to go in a minute. But for me, Sheffield United are definitely not staying up. They've got 1 point in 7 games, so they're not staying up. They're going to finish 20th. They're going back down to the Championship. For me, West Ham, they're going to surprise everyone this year. A lot of people predicted them to get relegated when they signed no one, but they signed Ward-Prowse, they signed Alvarez. So they've signed a few decent players. So for me, they're going to surprise us. They're going to stay up. They're going to be in the top half of the table. And Sheffield United are going to go down.
Okay, well, that's very quick about that. Now, Ollie, I know you have to go. Oris, I think you also have to leave, but I'll shout you out first. The man after whom this channel is named. Tell us where we can find you, what you got coming up, and what's going on with you personally these days.
Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Obviously, big up you, Manny, and Hannah for covering me today. But yeah, man. Instagram Oris Football, Twitter Oris Footy, and obviously, personally, coaching. Season started already, so big up you guys. Big up the comments. Everyone in the comments. Make sure you guys have subscribed already. If not, and big up, Manny.
All right, Ollie, you're next, son. It's about 30 seconds into the game, and I'll let you leave, but do shout out your channel. Tell us what's coming up, and if you got any other social media profiles, do let us know.
Yeah, so guys, big up for having me on. Big up Aresh, Kyle, Hanno, Manny, and Mr. B. It's been a great stream. Obviously, it would have been nice to have more guests, but big up the comments as well. Old School Gunner, Keep Me at Booth Chelsea, big up JPT, always going on my channel, obviously, formerly known as the Added 10 Podcast, and Coach's Corner and Waleed as well. So if you want to find me on my channel, you can catch me on Aresh Talks Football. You can catch me on Coach's Corner with Hanno. You can catch me on Mr. B. I was doing a watch along with the Scotland game. That was really fun with Manny as well. I've been on AFC TV Chalk Show, Delbog on a TV, Stephen Feely, and obviously if you want to find me on my channel, DJ Sinclairo, capital DJ SINCLAIRO. You can catch me there talking, reviewing the games. I've recently reviewed the Arsenal game that I went to, the women's game. I've done a few videos of unreleased songs that are coming out by James Hype and Martin Garrix. They're two famous DJs that I like. Yeah, make sure you watch my videos for public watch hours so I can get paid from YouTube very soon. I've currently hit 1,080 subscribers again, because the most I had is 1,085. So looking forward to get 1,100 before the end of the year. So we've got about 2 months now. Well, no, October, November. We've got about 3 months to try and get 1,100 before the end of the year. So 20 subs in 3 months isn't bad. So we can do that. If you want to find me, DJ Sinclair, like my videos, go watch my videos, probably watch out, subscribe. If you want to find me on Instagram, Ollie.Sinclair556. I'm on 880 followers, or 81 now, I think, or something like that, 82. So on the road to 1K there, or 900 is the big aim, then 1K, because one of my old accounts that got 1K got hacked. So I've made a few accounts, but this is my account I have now. So go follow that one. And if you want to find me on my fan page, Aaron_Amster fan page 1, I started doing stories now, and I will be posting on it soon. I know a lot of you were a bit worried when I did a reel and posting. I'm, leaving and blocking it and stuff. So obviously the profile picture is still black, but when I'm back, when Ramsdale starts playing, I'll change the profile picture. I'll start posting more stories. But for the moment, I'm just posting the stories now. Ollie is Epic556 on TikTok. DJ Sinclair 556 on Mixcloud. Do some mixes recently. DJ Sinclair on SoundCloud doing sped up songs on there. Apart from that, Snapchat, Instagram, Snapchat, Xbox, PlayStation, please do personally DM for that. And a final social is DJ Sinclair on Twitter, or X, they call it now. All lowercase, DJ Sinclair, no spaces. I'm on about 15 followers, so go follow me on there. I'll try and be more active on there. If I get 20 followers, I'll probably be more active, but I haven't really got many posts and stuff. But big up Manny, Mr. B, and Orest, and for now, good night, guys. And come on, you Gunners.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. And we'll just remove you both from the screen. And we will finish soon, I promise you. But we do have a couple more games to briefly talk about, because I know that, obviously, Oris wanted to end the stream. And look, I've got one eye on the Arsenal game, obviously. But listen, I have a job to do, and I will do it. We spoke about 8 games. The 9th game, of course, we're going to talk about with a few talking points is, of course, Newcastle beating Burnley 2-0. And, of course, Burnley are still struggling, of course, in the league. It's very difficult for them to see where their first win will be coming from. We had high hopes for Burnley, of course, with Company managing the team. But they've just seemed to have found life in the Premiership to be a little bit difficult for the moment. And as for Newcastle, well, they're playing in the Champions League tomorrow, and they had a good Champions League day, sort of renaissance, if you will, against an AC Milan team that were rather wasteful, it must be said. Newcastle had a bit of a blip, but they're starting to, come back a bit. And I wonder if you think that Newcastle can repeat their success last season, or will they end up having a bit of a drop-off? Because I think we can agree that with Burnley, unless they really get their act together, they could end up, going back down. It would be tragic, but, that's football. It's brutal. It's ruthless. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for them this time, Manny. I mean, after a great first season with, obviously having all these new players coming in and the money now, and everything, being successful, getting up into were they third? Newcastle in the end? I think they were third, or were they fourth?
I think if memory serves me right, they finished third. I mean fourth. Sorry,
fourth. Yeah, fourth. Yeah, it's going to be tougher for them this time, I think. Of course, they got Champions League now, which doesn't help. So they're going to be focused on that a lot more as well. So. And they're doing okay in that at the moment, although obviously I think the next game is going to be harder, PSG. Can't see them getting anything much out of that. But, I think they'll do okay. Burnley, I think, will go down maybe. I can't see them staying up either. They're a good team. I liked them in the Championship last season. I watched them a fair bit. They played some good stuff under Company, a lot better than Dyche, obviously, when Dyche was there. But, it's a lot better team, but it ain't going to keep them up, unfortunately. I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, all we can do is hope that with, as with Bournemouth, who should be having an easier run of games after getting thrashed by Arsenal, if Burnley get a decent run of games, at least against the likes of Luton and Sheffield United, and maybe if they get some wins, a shock win, it could increase their confidence. You just don't know. And the last game we're going to talk about was the late night Saturday game between Spurs and Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
Because this game once again deals with the fact that it's not so much the technology, it's the officials and the people who use it who deserve to be blamed.
Yeah.
Of course, we know that two of the guys involved in that fiasco have since been relieved of their duties for this upcoming game week.
Just
one or two of them.
One game.
Yeah, but of course, a couple of them also were rightly chided for doing some moonlighting in the UAE and then coming back here to do their jobs as well. Look, my dad growing up in the my dad was in the NHS. He was a doctor. He had to work at two different hospitals to earn enough dosh to make to give his family, which included a wife and three children, yours truly included, of course, a decent life. And of course, when he had the chance to move to the Middle East, he couldn't turn it down. But if you have to work hard and cite these difficult times, by all means do so. Take as many jobs as you need. But if you slack off, expect criticism. And then Liverpool as well, of course, had two people sent off. People are going to talk about the Curtis Jones sending off the serious foul play as something that was justified, but he went for the ball. He just circumstantially he went in with his studs, and from what I saw, his studs slipped on the ball and then went right into Bissouma's ankle, and it looked bad, but it looked a lot worse than it actually was. And I remember listening to Stephen Stubbs' watch along. Shout out to Statman Stubbs, by the way, Liverpool fan. Organizes, does Liverpool watch alongs, but also does some terrific quizzes. Really top bloke. He was telling me, making it clear that there should have been some common sense applied. Diogo Jota being sent off, I think at least one of those offences was justified. The other one might have been a bit harsh. And then to lose in such tragic circumstances to a Joel Matip own goal with almost virtually the last kick of the game, kicking the teeth to the Liverpool fans. And of course, as an Arsenal fan, it made me sick because it meant that Spurs ended up finishing the week still above us on goal difference. So, obviously we can agree that it's not the technology, it's the officials. So I don't want to see VAR. But when you have a situation where these officials are going to get away with such, acts of stupidity and keep getting nothing more than a slap on the wrists, you just wonder what sort of standards are being applied over here and what changes can we possibly make? I mean, are we doomed to suffer from this nonsense week in, week out in perpetuity?
Yeah, well, I've been shouting from the rooftops, Manny, about getting ex-players to do it, but a lot of the ex-players don't want to, unfortunately, because they played the game, in the past. They know what's a bad tackle and what ain't, and what's a good decision and which isn't. Offsides, onside, whatever. They know all about it, but they just ain't going to do it. That's the problem. And I've got a problem with that. He's only got one game. Is it Darren England?
Darren England and I think one more person. I don't quite remember, but one game. Go on.
It's not good. Players get banned when they do something wrong. They get banned for 2 or 3 games, don't they? The rest going to get one game off. That's nothing, isn't it? And that's not going to give 3 points or any points to Liverpool. Got to get them any points back, is it? So I think it's so really unfair. And it was clearly onside, Diaz.
Oh, yeah, the Diaz goal, right? The goal that never was.
Yeah, it was clearly onside. How could they get that so wrong? It's unbelievable.
I think it is fair to say... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think it's an almighty cock-up, and VAR is just not proving... It was there. They're supposed to be there for the clear and obvious mistakes. And now they're doing it themselves. The people in there are doing it themselves. So there is no way of keeping it going unless you get ex-players. That's the only way, Manny. That's the only way.
Agreed. And I'm not one of those people who will go on and on about refereeing injustices, because look, sometimes as players those sensible of us, whether we're players or fans, will know that sometimes we have to take the rough with the smooth. But again, we can agree that, what happened with Luis Diaz, it was a little bit like when we played you lot when you came to the Emirates last season, and I believe there was a similar decision which really affected us. But I will say that we were lucky to get something out of that game, and there were moments when, especially on the counter, you looked really good. A lot of people will say that on the balance of play, Spurs probably deserved to win because they had the more of the possession and more of the chances. But Liverpool also showed that even with 10 men, they could have perhaps nicked it. And obviously the sending off of Jota sort of changed the equation a bit. Maybe if Liverpool were to appeal the dismissals, I think maybe Curtis Jones could get a slight reprieve, given that it was ended up being a little bit accidental. I'm not too sure Jota will be that lucky. But again, Liverpool are going to have to just, pull themselves together. And I actually do think that given how well they're able to perform, because listen, even if they go down to 10 men, they're still able to provide a good fight. They could potentially be favourites to win the title. What do you think?
Yeah, I still think they're going to be up there, Liverpool. I really do. I mean, it's, people say, it swings and roundabouts, it'll even itself out later in the season. But not if VAR's got anything to do with it, it won't. So, I think it's really, really terrible. I mean, a lot of people could say that one with us against Nottingham Forest the other day near Karte. They think he didn't really foul it. He didn't mean to put his studs down his back of his leg or anything. And I thought, well, yeah, he might not have done, but he did. And it's dangerous tackle at the end of the day. But that one possibly looked a little bit harsh. Who was it?
The Jones one.
Jones, yeah. Because he did obviously go on the ball and probably bounce up onto his leg, maybe. So that was slightly harsh. But I think there's a lot gone wrong with VAR, and I just think it should be scrapped. To be honest, I think Spurs. I actually think Spurs are doing well this season. I think they're playing some decent stuff. Where it remains to be seen if they will be up there, though. Probably won't be, not in the top 6 or anything. But they're doing a lot better than they did under the last manager, Conte, and all that. So, I think they could be up there maybe as well.
Yeah, well, of course, one thing about Mr. Jones being suspended is that we won't get to see him play and ask him if he's seen our wives.
And
on that rather cheeky note, we are going to end this. Thanks a lot to everyone who's joined in. Thanks a lot to everyone in the chat. Special big up to old school gunner David Cole. He obviously was the person who, sort of led me into this YouTube thing. We became friends first, and then he got me introduced to Del Boy, and I owe him a huge debt. We'd love to have you on one of these panels, Dave. If you can, please do come in. Shout out to Walid, our co-host, Hashim Niaz, Chelsea fan. It's a couple thing, a new one. I hope you've subscribed. If you have, good on you. Also, Kyle Howie in the chat, and also others. If I've missed anyone, I do apologize. Coach's Corner, obviously, in the chat. And now, of course, before we leave, good news, of course, for Arsenal fans, but I won't mention it just yet. Mr. B, you've been here from the beginning to the end. I've enjoyed talking with you. We've all enjoyed having you. Shout yourself out. Where can we we find you, and what have you got coming up later?
Basically, it's Mr. B, Hive Football Chat, my channel at Mr. B for Life 182. Obviously, got quite a bit coming along. Obviously, the B's history. I keep saying about it. I keep mentioning it, and it will be coming eventually. I'm obviously going to do a recording of that, and obviously a lot more coming up. Obviously, reactions or preview, obviously, for the Man United one. I may be going on Rich Sports, maybe, for a preview of that. Man United fan, obviously. So maybe going on there. So that's all coming up. I won't hold you much longer here, Manny, because I know you want to get and watch the Arsenal game. And I think they may be 1-0 up, I believe. But anyway, come on, you bees. Let's get a result Saturday. We need it.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. B. And I can tell you that, yes, they are 1-0 up. The Messiah striking, Gabriel Jesus. Although we were under the cosh for a little bit of time, a wonderful counter-attacking goal. And hopefully it could stay that way, or maybe we can score a few more. We'll find out. But once again, Thanks a lot to everyone who's joined in and who's been watching this video. Thanks once again to our panelists. This has, of course, been Oris Talks Football, and we will come back with more streams and maybe one later on in the week. But for now, thanks lots everyone for joining in, and we are about to leave. Take care of yourselves, people, and good night.